All right, Econ 112, did you get up? Did you stretch your legs? Stretching is important. It's good for you. All right, so far what we've done in chapter 2 is we have started to define the production possibility and frontier and learn how to interpret the graph and figure out what's attainable and unattainable and what's efficient, but efficient in a production sense. Now we're moving over to what's allocatively efficient, because sometimes it makes sense to have a little bit of both goods. We might actually all be happier as a society with a little bit of both goods, right? So this is where we're going to start going in our exploration of efficiency. Let me go ahead and get this all set up. And let's go. By the way, if you're wondering why the video keeps resizing and unsizing and things like that, Zoom keeps changing a lot of their settings, and it changes with every update we get. So we'll see what happens. So eventually we'll have it so that I'm overlaid back onto the PowerPoint again. We'll figure that out. Actually, hold on, let me try something. I really hope this works, or else it's going to be super annoying to fix later. All right, let's see. If you can see me on the bottom of the screen, I have successfully figured out the zoomies. All right, so let's get back to where we were with our discussion of allocative efficiency. So we have our marginal cost and our marginal benefits, and we're trying to put them together to figure out what's actually efficient in an allocative sense, right? So, oh, I gotta press the button. So we got our marginal cost, that direction. Ooh, this video is pretty bad. Where we saw that we had our increasing marginal cost curve line, right? So we went from 1 million to 2 million to 3 million to 4 million to 5 million pizzas, and each time we had an additional 1 million pizzas, there were a lot of things that we had to give up for that, right? But on the other side, we have our marginal benefits curve. Notice that that is decreasing. So we have a lot of benefit from that first couple pizzas, and then maybe less benefit from the next million pizzas, and maybe less benefit from the next million pizzas. So eventually, you're trying to give me like more pizzas when I already have 4 million. I'm so tired of pizza. I don't want this, right? I'm not going to pay very much for it. My marginal benefit for the next little bit of pizza actually goes down. So we have increasing marginal cost, but decreasing marginal benefit. Please go to the next slide. Yes. So we want to use our resources efficiently. Let's put my little head here. This is way easier on Twitch. Just going to point that out. So we're going to want to use these resources efficiently. So we're wanting to get to the point where our marginal cost is equal to our marginal benefit. The reason why we do this is because when we understand the cost that we have to give up for adding something, and we understand how much extra happiness we're going to get for it, we're going to want to get to the point where the happiness we get for something is the same amount, the exact same amount as what we have to like pay for it, or what our cost is going to be for it. So we want our benefit and cost to be aligned. So we want to get to the point where these graphs intersect, right? Where the marginal benefit equals the marginal cost is the allocative efficient point of pizza. So being production efficient is being on the production possibility frontier. To be allocatively efficient, we want to be where marginal cost equals marginal benefit. Because look right there, where those lines cross. That's pretty. That's real nice right there. So the point of allocative efficiency is the point on the PPF at what marginal cost is equal. At this we see, well, okay, we're at about 2.5 million pizzas. And at that point, what we would give up for an additional pizza is about 3 sodas. And then the extra benefit we get from one more pizza right here is equal to about 3 sodas. So the benefit we get of being about 3 sodas worth of benefit is equal to the cost of the 3 sodas I'd have to give up to add pizza. Isn't that cool? That's so cool. I'm really excited for that. So that means that we want to be along this production possibility frontier. We see our pizzas in millions and our colas in millions, and maybe, so we know that we're allocatively efficient at 2.5 million pizzas. So if I give you 3.5 million pizzas, you're like, no way, not happy with that. So I'm wanting to reduce the number of pizzas. And the reason why I want to reduce the number of pizzas is because at that point, I value the sodas more than I do the pizzas. So I want to shift, give up some pizzas, get more sodas. Now, what if we're on the other end? What if instead we're at this point where we have too few pizzas. We're at 1.5 million pizzas, but we know that I'm happy at 2.5 million pizzas. So I'm going to want to increase the pizzas. The reason I do this is because I'm happier with an increased amount of pizza than I am with a reduced amount of pizza. Or, excuse me, yeah. I would prefer to have more than 1.5 million pizzas, and I'm willing to give up some of my sodas for that. So this is using our resources efficiently to get to a point where we're happy. So we've basically seen this. We want to be to the point where our marginal benefit equals our marginal cost, because there's no better way to get happiness or utility from our resources at that point. We're as happy as we can be. Like we're in a good space when our marginal benefit equals our marginal cost, because there's nothing that we can add. I can't have more pizzas or more sodas without giving up something that I value more. This is my sweet spot of exactly where I want to be. All right, so that means we have gains that are happening from this trade. Just keep moving my little face along. Gains from trade mean that sometimes there's people that have a comparative advantage in an activity. They can maybe do this activity at a lower opportunity cost. If you're someone who's been making pizzas for 20 years, you have an advantage in making pizzas over someone who it's their first day on the job, right? So we have to look at these comparative advantages that people have when making goods and services. And then we have to think about the absolute advantage. If there's a person that's just more productive than other people. So I might be more productive than other person. This is a comparative advantage on like how many sodas I have to give up to make more pizza. But I might also have an absolute advantage, which means that I'm just more productive than other people in this thing. Okay. So absolute advantage involves comparing the productivity, while comparative advantage involves comparing the opportunity cost. So if one person has a comparative advantage in something, the other person has the comparative advantage in the other thing. That's just real good for you to know, because it's something that always messes up people on the test. If I'm really, really, really good at making pizzas, I'm having to give up less sodas for it. But that means someone else is really good at making sodas and has to give up less pizzas to make sodas. We're both probably a little bit better at something. I might be all around more productive. I might be able to make more pizzas and more sodas. But that doesn't mean that my opportunity costs are the same. It could be that maybe I can't do it for the same minimal cost that someone else can. So we're gonna look at two people, Joe and Liz. I think I'm gonna switch my camera back to the other way. I don't like this. All right, so we got Joe and Liz. And they both want to open up a smoothie bar. These smoothie bars are, just so fun. And they can produce smoothies or salads. So let's kind of look at what their comparative advantage would be in smoothies or salads. So let's first start out with Joe. Joe can produce 6 smoothies or 30 salads if given an hour. So if he was given an hour, it takes him about 10 minutes to make a smoothie, so he can make 6 smoothies an hour. That's if he's only making smoothies. Let's go to the other extreme. Let's say he's only making salads. Well, if he's only making salads, they're easier for him. He can make 30 salads in an hour. They take him about 2 minutes each. So if we're all the way up on one axis, it could be that he produces 6 smoothies and no salads, or if we're on the other axis, I can't really imagine that I'm making a graph. He can produce 30 salads but no smoothies. Right? So those are his 2 extremes, and we need to think about what the curve in between the 2 is going to be. So what's his opportunity cost? Let's start breaking down the opportunity cost of this. Well, Joe's opportunity cost of producing 1 smoothie, so it takes him 10 minutes to produce a smoothie. How many salads is he going to have to give up? Well, it only takes him 2 minutes to make a salad. So if it takes him 10 minutes to make a smoothie, he could make 5 salads with that time. Because in 10 minutes, he can make 5 salads at 2 minutes apiece. So that means for each additional smoothie he's making, he's giving up 5 salads he could have made. That's his opportunity cost. Let's go the other directions. What's his opportunity cost of producing a salad? Well, a salad takes him 2 minutes. Okay, and he knows a smoothie takes him 10 minutes. So if he wants to produce a salad, he's only giving up 1/5 of a smoothie, because it's 1/5 the amount of time it'd take for him to make a smoothie. So his opportunity cost of producing a salad is 1/5 of a smoothie. So we got this understanding. We know that Joe's opportunity cost is, for 1 smoothie is 5 salads, for 1 salad is 1/5 of a smoothie. It goes back and forth. Totally makes sense. Okay, all right, okay, all right. We know Joe. Let's go. Let's meet Liz. Liz is pretty cool. Liz also has a smoothie bar. She is a little bit faster at making smoothies. Maybe she's been doing it for a while. And let's say that she can produce 30 smoothies or 30 salads. So it takes her about 2 minutes to make a smoothie and about 2 minutes to make a salad. So in a given hour, she can either make 30 smoothies at one extreme, or she can make 30 salads at another extreme, or some combination of the two. Well, what's her opportunity cost? Well, we got to think, what is she giving up? If she wants to make one smoothie, well, that one smoothie is going to take 2 minutes. It also takes her 2 minutes to make a salad. So if she makes one smoothie, that's one less salad she's making. So her opportunity cost of producing a smoothie is one salad. Let's go the other direction. All right, let's say that she wants to make one salad. How many smoothies does she have to give up? Well, she makes a salad in about 2 minutes. It takes her about 2 minutes to make a smoothie. If she's making one more salad, that means that there's one less smoothie that she can make, right? So if she wants to produce in an equal number, so let's say she wants to do half and half, she might make 15 smoothies and 15 salads in an hour. Ta-da! Is this as good as they can do? There might be gains from trade here because their opportunity costs aren't the same, right? For every salad that Joe makes, he has to give up very little of a smoothie compared to Liz, who every time she wants to make a salad has to give up a full smoothie. So maybe there's a way that they can work together. Let's think about this. Let's think about this. So let's draw out their production possibility frontiers. And we're just going to use straight lines for this one because it's easier. So Joe can produce 6 smoothies if he only produces smoothies, or 30 salads if he only produces salads. So let's say that he wants to make an equal number of both because people love having smoothies with their salad. So he makes 5 and 5. He makes 5 smoothies and 5 salads. Notice he's on the line. He's being production efficient. He has done something efficient for his production possibility frontier in between these two goods. Now let's look at Liz. Liz can make 30 salads, so she can make the same number of salads as Joe in an hour, or she can make 30 smoothies if she makes 0 salads. So her production possibility frontier, notice that it has the same y-intercept, but the x-intercept is much further out because maybe she's a little bit more efficient. Maybe she's making smoothies for a longer amount of time. So let's say that people still love smoothies with their salads, so she's going to make an equal number of both. Well, then if she splits her time half and half, she can make 15 salads and 15 smoothies. Okay, what do we got? Well, in this perfect world, if they don't work together, Joe produces 5 smoothies, 5 salads. Liz produces 15 smoothies, 15 salads. Together in the world, there are 20 smoothies and 20 salads. That's our starting point. Now I'm going to take you through an example that kind of shows you why them trading together might be a better idea. So let's think about their comparative advantage. So Liz has the absolute advantage in smoothies. She can make way more smoothies. They're kind of equal on salads. But what is their comparative advantage? Well, Joe's opportunity cost of a salad is 1/5 of a smoothie. For every additional salad he makes, he only gives up a little bit of a smoothie because he's not very good at smoothies. Liz, on the other hand, for every salad she makes, she's giving up a whole smoothie that she could have made. Joe has a smaller opportunity cost. For each salad he makes, he has to give up less smoothie. That means he has a comparative advantage in producing salads. He can produce salads for a smaller cost in volume of smoothies than Liz can. Okay, that's good to know. Let's think about their available gains from trades that they could have here. Well, before trading at all, we knew that there were going to be 20 smoothies and 20 salads in the economy. That's because Liz is producing 15 of both and Joe's producing 15 of both. But let's instead have Joe make the thing he has the comparative advantage in. Joe has to give up less smoothies for each salad he makes. So let's say instead, Joe only makes salads. Liz is much faster at smoothies. For each smoothie she makes, she only gives up 1 salad. While Joe, for each smoothie he makes, because it takes a long period of time, he's giving up 5 salads he could have made. That's a much higher cost, right? So if we're going for the low-cost person, the one that has the comparative advantage, Liz would only make smoothies. So we see right here, Liz making only smoothies and Joe making only salads. your brain should be going off, because we look right there and we say, wow, now we have 30 smoothies in the economy and 30 salads in the economy. Well, that's way more than when they worked alone and they had only 20 and 20, right? That's because they start specializing in what they're really good at. Now let's say they trade. So they both specialize. Liz makes all the smoothies and Joe makes all the salads. Well, then that means that Liz can sell 10 of her smoothies to Joe for 20 salads. Okay, that's cool, right? Because eventually she would have had 15 smoothies. If she sells 10, she still has 20 smoothies. And then she buys 20 salads. Well, that's more than the 15 salads she started off with. So she ends up with 20 smoothies and 20 salads if she trades. Well, what about Joe? Well, Joe's not getting screwed over in this deal. Joe originally could make 5 smoothies and 5 salads. But if he makes only salads and he sells 20 of them to Liz, he still has 10 salads. 10 salads is more than 5, just so you know. But in exchange, he's buying some of the smoothies that she's making. Let's say he buys 10 smoothies. Well, now Joe has 10 smoothies and 10 salads. There's a gain from trade there. Because they both specialized in what they did, now Liz, instead of having 15 smoothies and 15 salad, has 20 smoothies and 20 salads. She gained 5 on both. Joe, on the other hand, specialized in salads because he's good at salads. Originally, he had 5 salads, 5 smoothies he could sell with his time. But because he specialized, now he has 10 smoothies and 10 salads, which means he has a 5 gain in each of those. Together, working together, they've had gains from trades in this situation where they're able to produce more together than what they would have produced separately. So what does that look like on a graph? Move the little head thing. Zoom. You were real solid last semester. What are you doing? All right. So since Joe's opportunity cost of producing a salad is less than Liz, he's going to have the comparative advantage. If he has the comparative advantage, then he needs to specialize in salad. Liz, her opportunity cost of producing a smoothie is less than Joe's. She has to give up less salads to make a smoothie than Joe does. So she should specialize in smoothies. Together, let's see, I put way too many slides in here. They're trading. Well, when they trade, notice this pink line. This pink line goes outwards, right? For Joe, it goes from the 30 salads he could have had an hour to this new point where he has 10 smoothies and 10 salads because he traded. Well, Liz, this is her production possibility frontier. She could have had 30 salads or 30 smoothies, but instead she now has this new point. If we take this pink line outwards and she specializes in smoothies, she can have 30 smoothies, or she can trade and get 20 smoothies and 20 salads. Well, notice that these pink lines are in the unobtainable range of what their individual production possibility frontiers are. The way to get to the unobtainable is to trade together, because then you're creating a new production possibility frontier for the two of you. This means that they move to points outside of their PPF, and that is so neat. So they specialize together. And because they trade in this Liz-Joe economy, it's no longer just Liz and it's no longer just Joe, because they specialize and they trade together. Their economy now looks like this. This is the production possibility frontier for both of them. So at first, if they both produce salads, that's the 30 salads from Joe and the 30 salads from Liz, they can produce 60 salads together. If they both produce smoothies, there's the 30 smoothies from Liz and the 10 smoothies from Joe. Or, yes, 6 smoothies from Joe. That one. So there's 36 in total that they could have there. But now we see that this production possibility frontier is kinked outwards. When we create a new PPF that's not their individual PPFs, instead we have a market PPF of the two of them together, we see that if they trade, this bows outwards. It's not a straight line between those 2 points anymore. And because specialization means that there's gains. There's gains! And the person who does what they do best does what they do best. And together there's even more smoothies and salads in the economy than there ever was before. And you're like, wow, Dr. Plemm, why does this matter? Because this is cool. This graph right here is why you don't sew your own clothes, and you don't farm your own land, and you don't build your own televisions and you don't make your own satellites, because that would be ridiculous, right? You can't do all those things. You don't have time, you don't have the knowledge, you don't have the specialization. Instead, you do what you are best at, and you contribute that to the economy, and you trade the stuff that you produce that you're best at with other people through a form of exchange that we call money, and the production possibility frontiers bow outwards because everybody's doing the thing that they're best at, and that is just so neat. This is the basic looking at two goods. But if we build this up to millions of goods and billions of people, we have something more than that. Something that's more than just the individual pieces. And that's how we have growth. So that means that there's new efficient points. And these new efficient points are beyond what either one could have done themselves. If they would have not traded at all, they would have been right here, right? Where there were 20 smoothies and 20 salads in the economy. Notice in their individual ones that totally would have been, if they just operated on their own or refused to trade, that would have been efficient for them. But for the market, that's not efficient. It's in the attainable zone. Certainly they can do it. But is it using their skills and their resources to the best of their ability? No. Using the skills and resources to the best of the ability would take this inefficient point D and move it to the efficient point B, where we now have this bowed out production possibility frontier. So this means that we have growth. Economic growth happens because of a few different reasons. The expansions of the production possibility frontier, moving it outwards so that we can have even more smoothies and even more salads and more pizzas and more sodas. There's reasons why these things happen. And that's through economic growth. There's two key factors of economic growth. The first is technological change. Why do we produce more pizzas now than we did 100 years ago? Because 100 years ago, people were still doing it in brick ovens with a like little pizza scoopy thingy in and out of the pizza oven. Well, then you can only produce so many pizzas, right? But technology changed. We now have computers that put in the perfect amount of sauce and cheese. We have baking ovens that you put it on the baking oven and it just runs it down the line and cooks it for you, and we can put a lot more through there a lot quicker. Technology has changed, and when technology changes, that means that we can produce more of a good or service because now we can do it more efficiently and for a lower cost. There's also the idea of capital accumulation. So remember, capital, these are kind of your machines that are helping you, right? So instead of our one brick pizza oven, maybe instead I have those like automatic pizza ovens that you see over at like Domino's when you're hanging out waiting for your order at 2 in the morning. Maybe we don't only have one of those. I can accumulate capital, right? I'm not stuck with just one of those. I instead could give up a little bit of money now and have 2 or 3 or 4 or 10 pizza machines in the future. And then I can produce so much pizza, and it pushes out the production possibility frontier because our capital input has changed. So we can either have better technology or we can have more technology, or we can have both. And both ways pushes the production possibility frontier outwards. But there's a cost to economic growth, right? It's not free. Having better pizza ovens was not a free decision, right? There had to be people who sat around and they said, okay, all right, what we really, really want is to make pizzas efficiently. So we're going to give up money and we're going to give up our time to start trying to build machines, to try to figure out the research and development, to test a whole bunch of things. And maybe I'm going to produce less. I'm going to buy less pizzas now, because instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my money into trying to build a better pizza by building machines, by testing machines, by doing research. So having millions and millions and millions of pizzas later, that came at the cost of like having a little bit less pizzas now and trying really, really hard to develop a better pizza machine. There's a cost to economic growth. So what am I even talking about? Notice the blue line and the pink line. The blue line is this interior line that goes from 10 pizza ovens to 5 million pizzas. Then we have this pink line, which is our second production possibility frontier, which goes from 10 million pizzas to 10 pizza ovens to 5 million pizzas. All right, let's think about it. If we're at this original line right here, this blue one, we could certainly operate on this blue one forever. We could always have 6 pizza ovens and make 5 million pizzas. Always. Yeah, we could totally do that. Technically, we could have 5 million pizzas It's the 5 million pizzas that we've been creating this entire time. Let's say instead of the 5 million pizzas that we've been building this entire time, we decide to only produce 3 million pizzas. And you're like, why would you do that? Because maybe we produce 3 million pizzas, but what we also do is we take that extra bit of money, that extra bit of like pizza that we would have produced, and we still efficiently use it because we're going to use it for technology. We're going to buy more pizza ovens. I buy more pizza ovens, what can I do the next round? Have more pizzas. Notice that bows this outwards where one of our intercepts change. We go from 5 million pizzas as our possible maximum number of pizzas to 7 million pizzas as our possible maximum number of pizzas, because now we have more pizza ovens. The maximum amount that we can produce changes. This is the idea of technology. Technology inspires growth, and this growth inspires the production possibility frontiers to be moved outwards to a new plane, so we have more things. It's kind of cool. So this means that there's changes in what we end up producing. Sometimes I need to produce less pizzas because I need to make more pizza ovens, right? Investment in capital and technology, so investment in these machines and these tools and this automation, it creates economic growth. It increases income. There's a reason why today you are able to sit in class instead of like having to stay at home and take care of the children and do the laundry and clean the thing and go like down to the river and pull out your groceries from the riverbank because there's no refrigeration and that's one of the best ways to preserve food over time, and you're having to collect salt. You're not having to do all those things, right? Because now we have technology and it's created in economic growth and it's increased income over time because of specialization and trade that explains differences in production. And not only for us, not only for how I produce versus how you produce over time, but how countries have changed their production, how entire systems and industries have changed their production. For example, so Ethiopia is a primarily agricultural industry, right? They do a lot of agriculture instead of industry. Well, then what did China eventually do? China came in and they started taking away from some of their agriculture and instead produced more machines, and then they could have more machines and agriculture because they put that initial investment. Then the United States did the same thing. They started putting money into building machines and research and technology, and then they could produce even more and incomes went up and it was super, super cool. So there's a coordination problem that exists among this. So how do we coordinate these things together? So we have Liz and Joe who want to make smoothies and salads. We have the technology that we use. We have the places that they sell it. We have the firms that they have to buy stuff from. We have the markets to the customers that have to come to the smoothie shops. We have even down to where they're locating their business. We have the money that they're exchanging for it. How do we coordinate the people that want salads and smoothies to the people that want to build salads and smoothies and all the pieces they need to make that successful? Well, to reap the gains from this trade, individuals have to coordinate together. Now, it doesn't have to be like the cleanest coordination ever. I don't know who makes my shoes and if they're related to someone who takes my class versus all the other things, right? I don't know that. You don't know that, but the economy knows that because it all kind of works together. Because there's institutional frameworks that make it so this coordination's even possible, right? So to have market coordination in a way that works so that we don't have to sit there and find, like, say that I produce oranges, I have to find, and I need shoes, go to the shoe cobbler, and they're like, no, I don't need oranges, I need horseshoes. So I go to the horseshoe person, and I'm like, oranges? And they're like, no, but I need bookmarks. So I go to the bookmark person, and I'm like, oranges? And they eventually give me bookmarks for oranges, and I go to the shoe cobbler and get horseshoes, and then go to the shoe cobbler and get shoes for me. That's exhausting. No one wants to do that. That sounds very exhausting to do, right? It is inefficient, it's taking your time. So to avoid that, to coordinate all the pieces of the market without having to do those things, we need 4 major pieces. First is firms. Firms are important. You need people to coordinate how to produce stuff, right? We need a place that produces clothes. We need a place that produces buckets. We need a place that produces coffee mugs. Because even individual entrepreneurs can't do the volume that's needed in the entire world. firms are a thing, right? It's a social institution that's evolved because some people are really good at producing one thing, and they can hire workers that are really good at producing one thing in a land that's really suitable to producing one thing, with the machines that are suitable to producing one thing. And then working together, these firms have created an environment to be able to produce things for lower costs. Then we have markets. It does no good if you can produce everything on earth. There are not people to sell or to buy them, right? So the stores where you buy things, they need to exist. The trading markets where we buy and sell things, they need to exist. Just any sort of ability where you and I can come together and exchange knowledge, money, goods, and services is a market. And those are really important because it gets the stuff that people need from person A to person B. You also need property rights. It does no good on earth for me to teach this class if I have no right to my intellectual property and I don't get paid for the course, right? I'm not going to teach if I don't have the right to my own classroom. No one's going to produce day planners, right? No one's going to produce day planners if they can't, if someone can come in at any time and steal all their inventory, and someone can come in at any time and just take everything, then they're just not going to do it. So well-established property rights is one of the things that we need for economic coordination. The last one's money. You know that example that I just gave of like trading the oranges to the cobbler for shoes, and because he doesn't want it, so I have to go get horseshoes, and then I have to go get bookmarks, and then this giant thing. Money is a medium of exchange. It's something that we recognize has value. At the end of the day, it's just paper, right? Well, technically, it's not even paper. In the United States, they're mostly made from like a plastic cotton mesh thing. But anyways, money is a medium of exchange. We all say that, like, if I have, do I have any money over here? I do not. If I have $1, we all kind of know what $1 is. We all kind of know what $1 is worth. And we can exchange by that. It's a medium of exchange that we've all just mutually agreed means something, so that we don't have to go find the person that needs our exact good. We can instead say, okay, well, here's this good. I feel like it's roughly worth about this much. Exchange me money. Thank you. And I take that money and I buy shoes. Done. Not the 12 steps in between. So we need these things for economic coordination. Firms are economic units that hire factors of production. They're the people that put the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship together, right, to produce goods and services. Markets are arrangements that enable buyers and sellers to get together. I want to buy something, you want to sell something. We need a market to do that in. We need to be able to meet and talk about it in some sort of way. Property rights are social arrangements that allow people to kind of own the goods and services that they produce and have a right to sell the goods and services that they produce. Money is just a token that we generally accept as a means of payment because we all kind of just mutually agree that $1 is $1. This matters for the wheel, right? On the screen, you see a fantastic wheel of the back and forth in between households, goods and markets, firms, and factor markets. Back to households. That's because we kind of got to understand how these pieces work together. So first, let's start at the north. Households. Households put our land, our labor, our capital, our entrepreneurship into factor markets. I did a lot of education and I like econ, right? So I go and I take my laboring in teaching and researching economics. I take that to the factor market. I say, who wants to hire me? Then a firm eventually hires these people, right? Or a university, if you're looking at a government institution or something like that, right? So firms end up hiring people. And then in exchange, or well, not necessarily in exchange, but then what do firms do? So they have all these inputs. They have the people working for them. They have the land. They have the machines. They have the thingies. What do the firms do? Well, they make goods. They make goods and services. They make the pizza. They make the soda. They make the financial markets. They make the education. And they take it to the goods markets and say, hey, who wants to buy a class by Dr. Alicia Plemmmons? And who wants to buy a bunch of oranges and pizzas? And then people will buy them, and goods and services go back to the households. That's one direction, but it also goes the other direction. Households go to the goods markets to purchase things from firms, which means that they have payments that go through to the firms. These payments that go to the firms become the payments that we have to our factors of production. Remember that laborers make wages. If you work for a business, you should be paid for it. Land gets rent. If I'm putting my business on someone's land, I need to pay them for that. Capital gets interest. I can you know, reclaim some money on that, or I can lend it out, or things like that. Entrepreneurs make profit. That's the reason why they do what they do. They want money at the end of the day. So this money that the firms get, because the households pay them for these goods and services, those go back to paying for the things we get from households, the land, the labor, the capital, the entrepreneurship. So altogether, this is one giant system that is somehow developed over thousands of years, and it works. And it's kind of neat. And I'm super into studying the economy, so please talk to me about it at any time. But that's the end of chapter 2. Remember, there are office hours. We're about halfway through the material for the first test. Remember that your homeworks are due once a week, so keep on top of that. I will send some emails about it, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Okie dokie, I will talk to you later. Bye, everyone.